I wonder if Jesse Jackson knows that the term hireling and slave does not denote so-called black people. Right? A hireling literally means an employee, right? You work for your hire, meaning you work for your wage, right? That's what a hireling is. Now, in regards to the term slave, you also had Caucasian slaves. Now, by the 1800s, slavery was considered a mostly race-based institution. There's no doubt about that. But so-called slavery in America, or chattel slavery, did not start off being exclusively white master black slave. Okay? So the reason why it's taught that slavery was always a race-based institution in America is for mental manipulation. It's a way to promote a ruling class mentality in Caucasians and a way to promote a slave mind in the so-called black man. Right? As I've stated numerous times on this channel, the term slave actually is in reference to the Caucasians who were living in Eastern Europe, who were called Slavs, just meaning servants. They were vassals to the Byzantine Empire, which was ruled over by so-called black people. Okay? So, the person in America who, through a court case, established chattel-based, meaning lifelong slavery, was a so-called black man named Anthony Johnson. Right? The so-called black man who owned another black man and did not want his contract to expire in regards to servitude, took him to court and was able to justify owning him for the rest of his life. Now, what happened in the latter part of the 18th century, slavery started to become a convention that was mostly white ownership over so-called blacks. That happened in the mid to late 18th century. All right? But throughout the 1600s, 1700s, most of the so-called blacks that came into the Americas came here as indentured servants or refugees who were fleeing the wars of England and Europe, or where you had well over 100 wars that were being fought throughout Europe from about the 1300s to the 1600s due to the upheavals over dissension in regards to interpretation about religion, and also race-based wars that were going on throughout Europe. Okay, and then of course you also had the indigenous so-called blacks who are already here. But they really just try to simplify race relations in history because once again, they just want the so-called black man to think of himself as purely coming from slaves and coming here on sailboats, bringing 40 million people off the west coast of Africa. That's the narrative that they tell you. And they packed the so-called black man and woman in the bottom of a sailboat like a sardine can for 4 months. And you just survived it and you were just brought here. And people believe that shit. But anyway,